Yeah. Oh my goodness. Starting. There we are. Okay. It always takes some time to get started for Lord knows whatever reason. Um, and we turn you up so we can see my gorgeous face. And my horrendous looking eyebrows. Oh my god. They they need some love. They need some TLC. Hi everyone. Welcome to Catt Chat. My name is Tomcat. And today we're going to be talking about this thing would decide to work. We're going to be talking about thirst and how the thirst is real. Um I have been at this cosplay game for a very very long time, longer than I care to mention. Um and in that time I have come across some gorgeous individuals, both male and female, and in between. And I love and cherish the friends that I have made. With that said, I know of several people who have, gotten people in their DMs, doing the thing, or you're trying to flirt. And there's something to be said about those that want to, have a relationship with somebody, and those that just want to, have the sex. And when it comes to that type of personality, it can be really jarring. It could be a very jarring experience, especially if you've known somebody for such a long period of time, and then it's like, bam, can I see your dick? Mm. Or alternatively, can I see what's underneath your skirt? Stop it. Just stop it. Um there's a way to thirst after somebody without being disgusting. Um and it's really disheartening to a lot of people. It's really disheartening to a lot of people, especially when you know people talk. People talk in this community. It's it's just it's just part and parcel of the game, really. It's part and parcel of the game. And I am thankful that I have never been guilty of outwardly pursuing someone for just sex. Now, with this in mind, I do have sex, as do a number of people, I'm sure. But there's a way to go about it. There's a way to keep it respectful. There's a way to keep it classy. There's a way to keep it, from being creepy and from being incredibly disrespectful. Um, and that's something that I want to address tonight. This episode is specifically about sex, so we're going to put that NSFW 18 plus warning here. That is the topic of conversation for tonight. It is going to be dealing quite heavily with sex. Now, when does it border on the harassment? When does it border on harassment? When does it border on harassment? Um, it really comes down to the relationship you have with said person. Because, there are friends that you have that you'll flirt with and you'll joke with and you'll make it light. You'll make it light. But then there are people that you're friendly with, um, and they make it creepy. They make it very obvious that what they want from you is just the physical. Um, no, Anne Marie, I am not watching the debate. I have much better things to do, like look at myself and hear myself talk, which is a lot like the person who is debating tonight. Um, with that, it is. It's also funny that we talk about sex, considering he's had children out of wedlock and he's had children by multiple wives. Isn't isn't that marvelous? Isn't that marvelous that the sitting president is so I don't want to talk about that. I would much rather discuss the matter at hand. And in doing that, I definitely want this to be the focus. I am positive. I am positive that there are people watching right now. I am positive that there are people that aren't watching right now that have had people in their DMs saying some very lewd, crude, disgusting things. Now, um, there have been times when people have come to me saying, "What should I do? What is it that I can do? What can I promote um to avoid this type of situation?" And it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to watch out for the creeps. It is the responsibility of the creeps to watch out for themselves. That is very much the obvious thing to say. I have had friends that I have had to listen to who have told me, I feel very uncomfortable when I'm having a conversation with this person. I don't know how I'm supposed to respond because, in this community we all know each other, and we've all sort of collectively grown up with each other, as it were, and seen each other blossom and move forward in all of this. And it's really quite interesting. It's really quite interesting. Now, first and foremost, I am very sex positive. I will always be a very very sexually positive person. I'm very pro sex. I'm hilariously enough, there was an episode of Maud that dealt heavily with premarital relations, and I'm all for it as long as you're doing it safely. As long as you're practicing safe sex, I am all for it. But there's something to be said about a person that you've known for a long period of time, and you've built up a rapport with them, and then they'll just out of the blue one day say, can we like exchange nudes, or do something a little bit greasier than that. Do something to the point where it literally borderlines on harassment. Um it's unfortunate that that happens to a lot more people than we care to imagine it happens to. But it's part of the business of it all. If you are a person that puts yourself out there and posts pictures of you in skimpy outfits, you're going to unfortunately attract that kind of attention, and that's anybody. That's all genders. That's all types. Um, but it is not up to us to coddle that type of behavior. It's up to us to stop that type of behavior. So I guess what I can really say on the subject is, if somebody comes to you that you've known for a long period of time, and you embark on this conversation, and it leads to something that you're uncomfortable with, and it could be about anything. If you feel uncomfortable in a conversation, it is basically up to you to say, hey, I don't really feel comfortable continuing this conversation, can we please stop? And if the person is respectful and not a complete dingleberry, they will say, okay, yeah, sure. It's when the person continues to continue the conversation, it's when the person does not stop, and proceeds to say some very very disgusting things. That's when something needs to be said. That's when something needs to be said. That's when something needs to be addressed. Um, and you can do it in one of two ways. You can actually have the conversation. You can have the conversation with the person over Facebook Messenger and be done with it. If they continue, then you can look into legal action. But of course, before legal action, you can address and talk to friends of friends. You can talk to friends of friends. You can talk to friends that you are close with and friends that don't know the situation and can get their opinion. Um, uh, 90% of the time, people will listen. Your friends will listen. Your friends will give advice. I mean, of course, there's always going to be the friends who are just like, "I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill them. Where are they at?" Um, and that's fine. That's completely and totally fine. I have no problem with that. But it really boils down to um, how comfortable you feel pursuing the conversation. Um, what is happening? I'm seeing a lot of evening says Nadell, hi says Nicole, hey gorgeous says Joe. We already discussed the debate. Katie Reese says, I love this in you, miss your face, you are the bees. Thank you, darling. Billy says, lewd, crude, unradical dudes. Um, yes, yes, lewd is spelled L-E-W. Nadell says, the creeps hardly ever know their place and when to stop, though, but this is why I adore the block button. I often respond with that if the language becomes intolerable to respond to with words. Yes, that is certainly one way to skin a cat. Will says, hey, I've been following the guidelines of our restraining order. Oh, Will, tell your husband I say hi. But this is a serious topic. This is a very serious topic because it happens more often than we think. It happens to men in the cosplay community. It happens to women in the cosplay community. It happens to everybody. It hasn't happened to me because I don't think anybody finds me as attractive, or they're incredibly intimidated by me. But this is a real problem. Thirsting after someone, whether it's just me and Kristen actually had this conversation about waifus and senpais, which sort of fall into the same category. Just not nearly as aggressive. To those unaware, senpai and waifus and husbandos, sort of like all tied together in the same anime jargon. Um, it's basically someone that you have a great deal of esteem for, whom has been around for a little bit and whom you have an affection for. Whereas thirsting for these people, it's a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more advantageous. With that said, there's always going to be some limits that people have. People have limits. Don't push them. Don't do not under any circumstances push your limits. No, know your limitations when it comes to having a conversation with somebody. Whether you are a fan, whether you are a friend, whether you are a follower, please do not go directly into someone's DMs and say something really disgusting that they might not be comfortable with. You don't know what that person is going through. You don't know what's happening in that person's personal life, so don't make an ass out of yourself. Um Soliciting dick pics. You know what? That's a good topic of conversation to go off with first. So, OnlyFans is a thing, Patreon is a thing. I am all about it. I support a person's hustle. I've actually been looking for people to follow on OnlyFans. And I have friends who do it and I support them wholeheartedly. Um that is their business. If you want their lewds, pay up. If you want their lewds, pay them. That is the only way to do it. Uh, there really is no clean way to. There's no respectable way to ask somebody for their nudes. If they offer a way to see a person below the belt, follow that. Don't do something disgusting like slide into their DMs and do it that way, because that's grimy. That is absolutely grimy. But it does happen. It does happen, and again, it happens to women and it happens to men. Um, if you are that type of person, stop. Because you're going to do more harm than good in the long run. Um, I really don't know what else to say on the matter except if they have an OnlyFans, follow them, subscribe to them, support them. That is the key takeaway from that type of conversation. Support the people that you want to see. Support them. It's really that easy. Um, there's celebrities on OnlyFans. There's people who have billions and billions of followers on OnlyFans. Um, if you want to see them, support them. Don't be grimy and slide into their DMs like with the side eye or with the eggplant emoji. Oh my goodness. There's a way to thirst after somebody appropriately. That's not the way to do it. Um that's just not the way to do it. But it happens. It happens. And again, it happens more often than you think it does. Harassing cosplay. I literally wrote down talking points for tonight's show because that's the type of gal I am. Harassment is a real thing in the cosplay community. Harassment is a real thing in the drag community. Um, have you have you ever seen a thirsty homosexual? I have. I sometimes look at them in the mirror. But be respectful. Know that the person that you're talking to is more than just a piece of meat. Don't objectify your friends. Don't objectify the people that you follow. Don't objectify. Don't make them don't they are not your property. They are not your property to be ogled at. They are not your property to be just don't treat them like an object. Treat them like a human being. Treat them like a friend. Treat them like a person. They are a person with human emotions and human feelings, and just don't be the type of person to send unsolicited hoo-ha pics. Don't do that. Do not be that type of person. Nadell says, "Oh, how I despise the uncalled for dick pics. I often think those who send unwanted nude imagery to the people they obsessively like know it's inappropriate, but they think because the person puts out hedonistic and sexual content, they think that's all those people are about. So they think it's appropriate and will get them the attention they seek." And my darling Hanari says, "Just don't touch people when taking pictures unless you ask first." And I wish that it was that simple for people to understand. It's really disheartening that people feel that they are owed something just because they have an OnlyFans or have a Patreon. You ain't owed shit. You are not owed a damn cent. You are not owed a crumb of lewds just for existing. It doesn't work like that. If you want to see something, if you want to do that, pay for it. There's a go-go dancer that I follow. His name is Eddie Danger. Please go and follow them. This happens to him quite frequently, where people will reach out, and just say some really, really, really horrendous things, like sending a booty pic. We won't get into the semantics, but sending pictures like that and saying, "Oh, I really love your work. I really love your work. I really love your work." Like that's incredibly inappropriate. That is highly inappropriate, and it's just disgusting. Have a little bit more respect for yourself, darling. Um, yes, when it comes to also, I want to point out something that Hanari said. When it comes to photography and taking the lewds and taking those types of pictures, make sure that you trust your photographer, because if they get handsy, that's a one-way ticket to Nopesville. That is a one-way ticket to No Land. And my darling Alexis Flame says, "Oh my," with George Takei. That is a gif, and that is wonderful. But yeah, it is. This is a real thing that happens. It happens to all forms of life. It happens to models. It happens to cosplayers. It happens to drag queens. It happens to, strippers. It happens to porn stars. It happens to all of them. And it's wrong. Just because you are in a field that is about a certain type of lifestyle does not give you the right to ask them for freebies. No, there's no such thing as freebies. Those don't exist. You want something, you pay for it. Sign a contract before you do lewds and nudes. A plus comment. A plus comment. Sign the contract. Write a contract up. Talk to friends of yours. And Dan and I say hi. Caitlin, I do need to reach out to Dan. He has called me a number of times, and I'm sorry that I've missed him, but he usually calls me when I'm either sleeping or I'm busy doing something else. So I do have to return his phone calls. Um If you are looking for romance with the people that you are talking to, that is one thing. That is one thing if you are trying to do something noble, if you are trying to do something like, I would like to take you out on a date, I would like to see where things go if we meet, that's fine. But don't make it creepy. Don't go the extra mile. And if they reject you and say, no, I'm really not in the mood to date somebody, don't be the type of person to say, okay, well, what if we did? No. No means no. The answer is no. Accept it, move on. Alexa says, kinky costs extra, and don't you forget it. Nadell says, speaking of photogs, I remember years ago when I went to a friend's birthday party on the beach, so we were all in bathing suits, myself included. My friend at the time was a 17-year-old trans person, but their body was female. This photog I didn't know, but his two offenses was trying to sneak pictures of that friend when their top came undone twice, and then of me, unknowingly when my butt was exposed. Again, it happens. I will say it until my dying day. Just because it isn't happening to you doesn't mean it isn't happening. Yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to harassment. Just know who you're talking to, and know that word travels. Know that word travels. If you're doing something disgusting, and a person either has a following or doesn't, other people are going to find out about it. So always know who you're talking to. What did I knock over? That's what I knocked over. I can't say enough how important it is to respect the people you're talking to. Whether it's about sex, whether it's about formulating a group of cosplayers, whether it's formulating something. Just imagine that being done to you. Imagine the shoe was on the other foot and you are someone with a large following. You are someone that has some sort of status or clout, and someone rolls up into your DMs and says something incredibly inappropriate to you, like I'll give a good example. One of my darling friends, Intraventus, had someone creep into her DMs saying, "I can see your vagina." In that one picture. Do you know how inappropriate that is? Do you know how inappropriate that is? That is incredibly inappropriate, is what it is. Um, Karen says, "Just got in. I probably missed something good." No, you're right on time. You're right on time. But there's something to be said about someone rolling up into your DMs and being inappropriate. Don't do it. I know I sound like a broken record, but I really want to drive home this point. I really want to drive home the point that if you're going to be in someone's DMs, make it appropriate. Have an actual conversation. Have a dialogue. Have an actual one-on-one conversation. Don't send unsolicited nudes to this person, especially if you don't know them. I cannot wrap my brain around people that send unsolicited dick pics to people they don't know. And I am the type of person that loves when those dick pics are potentially sent to the girlfriends of these people, to the wives, to the spousal equivalents, to the boyfriends and girlfriends. Like, it takes no pun intended, but it takes a lot of balls to send somebody an unsolicited dick pic. It takes a lot of balls to I've correct me if I'm wrong. I have never in my travels heard of a girl or a vagina owning person who will send a picture of their parts to a person they don't know unsolicitedly. If that has ever happened, please let me know and I will correct myself. 90% of the time that I have heard, it is from penis owning people who will send the penis to the person without knowing who they are. And I signed on at the right time. Yes, AJ, you did. Nadell says, now I ask questions and find out about the photog and people in the attendance because I don't want to have to waste my fire as well as my pepper spray on a horn dog. I I really would love to get inside the mind of somebody that could be so inappropriate. I feel like that's the term of the evening, inappropriate. Um, uh, but I can't. I truly can't. And there's always going to be a level of discomfort that a person feels when someone receives a picture of such content. What my question is why? What purpose does that serve? I don't think that serves any kind of purpose. My personal favorite when I when I was on Grinder, what I used to do is I would say, if you want to start this conversation over the dick pic, it's going to get graded, and it's going to not get graded on a curve. But that's the reality of the situation. I don't want to see your penis. I want to see your heart. I want to see the person that you are above the penis. Um, Karen says doesn't have to be a stranger either. Friends, and she put that in quotations, or friends will do all of that too, or on purpose, and sometimes take it too far. Again, it happens. There are people out there that are very, very sex hungry. There are people out there that don't know how to control their libido. But it's not the responsibility of the person to control those urges. It's up to the person with those urges to control their urges. Um, Wendy Gill says, I've had an ex print and mail my nudes to my dad because I blocked him. How tragic. That is absolutely reprehensible. That is morally reprehensible and corrupt. But my question, you want to know why they do it, friends? They do it for control. They do it because it's a way to control somebody. They do it so that they have a power over somebody. There are some men that feel that their penises are so powerful that they can hypnotize someone into sending nudes. Do you believe that? Do you believe? I believe that. I certainly believe that. They say as they take a glug of water. Nadell says the mind of an inappropriate person is that they are mentally unstable and driven by their sexual desires with absolutely no shame because they have yet to face severe consequences for their actions. So many of these people need to be neutered. I believe that's a bit extreme, but the idea has merit. I'm not discounting that. But there's something to be said about the person who will send unsolicited pictures, whether friendly or not. That I think it just needs to stop. I think this idea that receiving an unsolicited dick pic is a wonderful thing because it's like, ooh, I made it, I made it, I made it. No, a dick pic does not mean you've made it. Don't that is a false equivalency. um, Treat it as such. Somebody is sending a very private part of themselves to you, and you don't want that. I mean, there are definitely people I know who do want that, but that's another subject entirely. Um, have respect for yourself. Have respect for the person you're trying to have a conversation with. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've received an unsolicited dick pic, and I basically had to say, why? Why would you send that? As soon as you bring the penis into question, it's when they start to say, oh, maybe that was a bad idea. No, dumb fuck, it was a dumb idea before you sent it. It was a dumb idea to scroll through your nudes as I spray everywhere. That was very attractive, Tomcat. Um, just flames on the side of my face. Happy birthday, Madeline Tom, wherever you are. I don't know what type of person thinks it's okay to scroll through their nudes and send them to people with reckless abandon. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how people can think that their private parts are so powerful and so all being that they can do something like that. Wendy Gill says, dick pics, meh. Camera work is so bad, like 90% of the time, gross. There are some times when I've actually had to say, lighting's bad. Try again. Angle's not that great. One more time. Like, if you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And the saying goes, like, if you're going to be up in somebody's DMs being inappropriate, then you deserve everything that comes to you. You deserve to be outed. You deserve to be put not on the chopping block, but you deserve some type of comeuppance because that is highly reprehensible. And I mean, I am the first person to say I love sex. I do. I absolutely I enjoy the closeness. I enjoy the nuances that each partner that I've had brings. I just enjoy that level of intimacy. But there's a difference between being intimate with somebody and romantic with somebody and just what this person wants to do. Why? What again, what purpose does that serve to send private parts to somebody without any type of recourse or without any type of knowing how they're going to feel? There have been friends of mine that have received dick pics when they are literally at their worst, when they're very depressed or when they're very anxious or when they're very upset about something. That's not going, a penis is not going to fix that. A penis is not going to help those matters. Nadell says, extreme, yes. I won't deny that, but knowing some of these same creeps pursue underage boys and girls, it makes me all for the neutering, especially since most don't want to put these people in their place. And that's the scary part. There are some people that will send pictures to underage individuals, and it's wrong. It's so wrong. Like yeah, just whew. That is a bit of toxicity if ever there was one. I am the type of person that will not take kindly to people who are of that persuasion. And first and foremost, like, just let's clear the debris here. The LGBTQ community does not, cannot, will not, shall not support pedophiles or pedophilia. That does not exist. I was scrolling through Facebook the other day and I was looking up a friend of mine. I completely and totally forgot how to spell his name. But I met them through an app, and they gave me their name and I looked it up and I ended up finding this one person who matched the name. And one of the first things that I saw was a meme of a gun being held to the back of the head of somebody that was painted in the rainbow. And some of the things were like, we want equal rights, we want to be able to marry, we want to be able to see our partners on their deathbed in the hospital. And then right underneath that, it said, we want to sleep with your 8-year-old son. And I was, my stomach turned. My stomach turned at that because this person is so ignorant and so backwards that they would think that people would do something like that. I cannot fathom the amount of hoops a person has to jump through in order to believe that a community of people that have been denigrated for years would even think of doing nope. Hard pass. Just hard pass. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Now, that's about strangers. When it's your friends, when it's someone that you trust, when it's someone that you put a lot of confidence in, you know, regardless if it is someone that you have had intercourse with, regardless if it is someone that you have had, whoopee with, it's still inappropriate. It's still inappropriate to be that thirsty, with someone, regardless of history that you have with said person. When they say no, they mean no. And I really want to drive that home. When a person says no, they mean no. I don't care if you're the best of friends. I don't care if you've known each other for years. I don't care if you've known each other for a couple of months. When a person says no, they mean no. Respect that. Nadell says, that's my problem with the cosplay community. There are pedos hiding in the shadows, hiding among people's friends list, and because they wear a mask to, i.e., the cosplay, and have 1,000 or so friends, it never crossed their mind ever to be suspicious of these pedophiles. Don't mind me, I'm thinking of a couple of monsters I've come across in this community, and it just makes my blood boil at how they get away with shit because of the content they provide, and then the people that are aware of it and let it slide. We addressed this, I think, 2 episodes ago, or I think it was last week's episode where we talked about calling people out. Um, if there is evidence that can be provided, I see no reason why there shouldn't be a call out post. I've seen this year alone, I've seen 4 or 5 call out posts on people that I have either been friends with or have been in some sort of association with. They are immediately blocked, but the posts are shared. So I say this: if a person in this community, in any community, has done something that lascivious, uh, find, and unfortunately it said that I have to say this, but find the receipts, find people that have been affected by said person, and call them out. The post will be shared. The post will be, um, the post will make it. The post will circulate. The post will circulate. My God, my words tonight, Tom. Um, the post will be circulated, and people will learn just how awful said person is. Especially if especially if they're in this community. That's how I feel on the subject. These people will get their comeuppance, and these people will be dealt with accordingly. Um, yeah, I do want to bring it back to friends because I I have been the victim of people that will treat me like an object, where I will receive unsolicited pictures, along with like a caption of, I know this will cheer you up. It doesn't cheer me up. No. Try again. It is it is very objectifying to be treated in such a way as that. And I just wish that people who thirsted after other people weren't so disgusting about it. And there are people that have a bajillion followers, and there are people that have a following, and yet they hide a dark secret. They hide a very dark secret. I'm very open. Myself personally, I'm very open about my sex life. If you want to learn more about me personally, my life is an open book. My life is an open pair. My life is an open blouse. I have no problem discussing my sex life. I have no problem discussing, but in confidence. I have no problem discussing these things in confidence. It's when people take advantage of that confidence and will feel they can get away with certain things because of the topics that we've discussed. It doesn't work like that. Just because you know more about me than the average person doesn't give you any piece of me. Doesn't give you any piece of somebody that you're familiar with. You could have had immense amount of relations with a friend of yours. That doesn't give you the right to them. That doesn't give you the right to treat them in such a inappropriate way. Um Crimson says, "Hey, honey bunches, hi, baby cakes. I've been loving your work lately. Kudos to you on the haunted farm that you're on the haunt that you're working on. Very good work." Uh, Nadell says, "It's all about the numbers game and how much of a shit people give. That's what I have noticed. Even with proof given, said proof can be tampered with. But that doesn't mean a call out post shouldn't happen. I'm just saying." And I agree. I 100% wholeheartedly agree. If somebody is going to call out somebody, talk. If you can, this is why I say, if you can find people that have been attacked or have been treated objectively, and bring that to light, it's easier to have. You know the saying, "There's strength in numbers." That's how I feel on this subject. If you can get other people to corroborate the awfulness of a human being, and you find the receipts and you find those pieces, you can very easily post it all over the internet. People will listen. People will listen. There was actually one point in time when one of my friends said, "Oh, people listen to you, Tom. You have a voice, you have this, you have that." And I'm like, "But it's not my story to tell. I haven't been affected by said person." Um there have been times when I have been affected by a person, and believe you me, I have the receipts. Um but that's not going to happen until I can have my story corroborated with other people. If you can have what happened to you corroborated by others, because there will be that strength in numbers, you will be able to find support in the post that you're going to post. Um, Jackie, I miss you too, baby. I hope you're doing well. Um, but yeah, I want there to be a lot more respect for human beings. I want there to be more respect for people that you consider friends. If I consider you a close personal friend, that's big. If I consider you someone that I trust, that's big. If you take my trust, if you take my respect, if you take my loyalty, and there are a lot of people who are similar to this, and you feel you can take advantage of that by forcing yourself on them, how wrong is that? How absolutely disgusting is that you would do such a thing? Um this is not me reprimanding anybody. This is not me calling anybody out specifically. This is me basically saying that this is real. The the thirst is real. The thirst is very much real. And it's happening more frequently than you think it is. It's happening to people you think it's not happening to. I just ask that people be good to each other. I ask that people take time to have a conversation before doing something, disgusting. My wish, my hope, and my wish is that people will hold themselves accountable, and that people will say, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should think twice before the person that I send this to. Hold on. Maybe I should think twice before sending this to someone that has given me their trust and their loyalty. Maybe, just maybe, I should think before doing something. Um, and I just wish that people held themselves accountable. And I wish that other people held them accountable as well. For instance, when a person sends an unsolicited lewd, um, there are three things that happen. The person will either be disgusted, they will be delighted, or they will say, "Thanks, now I'm going to send this to the people that you really shouldn't, that you should have thought before sending to me." Um, there are times when someone has sent me something and I'm like, "You are you poly? Are you polyamorous? Is that why you're sending me this? Are you wanting to be in a polyamorous open relationship with me? Because if not, then I seriously think you need to look deep inside yourself and say, maybe that was a bad idea." Nadell says, "I wish there was more respect for human beings and especially friends in this community. I often see it among the cliques, but if you're not in that clique, it's just shrug, slanty face." The reality of the situation is that there are people that will take advantage of you out there. There are people that will thirst after you, and it's not up to you to control. It's not up to you to quench that thirst. It's up to them to figure out how to quench it themselves. And I really wish that people took that seriously. I really do. I wish that people took this more. I wish that people took harassment more seriously. I really do, because I feel like it's just not happening that way. Excuse me. Um, yeah, that is my hope and my prayer is that people will hold themselves accountable. Tell themselves that maybe this isn't a good idea, and just know that if you're sending it to said person, there's a very real possibility that person is saving it and going to send it to all their friends and say, hey, look at this. Look what I just got. And then, that's how people talk. And that's how rumors start. The I have covered the rumor mill a number of times. But when it comes to thirst, that is how rumors start. If you're going to do something, that's how you gain not only rumors, but a reputation. That's how you gain a reputation for being a bad person. That's how you gain a reputation for. And I get it. There are some people out there that want to be in a polyamorous relationship. There are some people out there that want to be in an open relationship. I respect it. I'm with it. But there's something so uncouth about being that thirsty that you just can't accept the answer no. That you just can't accept that you're not going to get what it is that you want. There's something really, really controlling about someone who's that forceful, who's that in your face and aggressive about this type of subject. There are times when I myself personally am thirsting after somebody, but I'm not going to pursue them in an aggressive way. I'm going to basically appreciate them from afar and say, you have a marvelous body, you have a marvelous physique, good for you. If somebody wants to have a romantic conversation with me, my DMs are consistently open. But when it comes to thirsting, I have a real problem with the way that some people behave because they take it too far. They take it too far and they don't take responsibility for their actions. If someone goes out of their way to send a lewd, that's a gift. That's how some people feel. They think it's a gift that you're receiving their godly phallus. If you'll pardon the pun, but nah. Try again. Absolutely not. There is a level of dignity and respect that comes with being somebody's friend. Asking for lewds, asking for nude pictures, asking for dick pics, asking for specific shots. No. Unless you are pursuing a relationship with said person or they're initiating. Have some respect for yourself. Have that conversation with yourself where you say, maybe this isn't a good idea. I know that there are a lot of people that I'm familiar with that have almost made it their job to thirst after people. There's thirsting after somebody, and then there's respecting a person's boundaries and respecting the person that you're talking to. If you are sexually interested in somebody, start a dialogue, start a conversation. All conversations start with a hello. All conversations start with a good pickup line. A hard line is good to a good line is hard to resist. That's the quote. A good line is hard to resist. And it should always be about respect. It should always be about respect. If you don't have respect for the person that you're talking to, then you're not going to have respect for them in a potential relationship or even a potential sexual relationship. Yeah. That's how I feel on the subject. If you are incapable or unable to respect the person that you're talking to, honestly, regardless if it's about sex or otherwise, they're not going to have respect for you. And I'm always the type of person that will say, if I'm the type of person that's going to actively pursue somebody, I'm going to talk to them like they're a human being. I'm not going to talk to them like they are a piece of meat. I'm not going to talk to them like they are my property. That went out in the 1800s. Stop it. Just stop it. Yeah. That is my thing. I just want people to have respect for themselves. I want people to have respect for other human beings. You know, we're all sort of on this swirling orb, doing our own thing. Um, yeah, that is my goodness. Are you okay, sir? Are you okay, madam? My stomach is growling for Lord knows whatever reason. I have a bottle of water. I'm quenching my thirst. And again, under the last analysis, when a woman, when a man, when a person says no, they mean no. And that's all I have to say on the subject. Um, I've been talking about this subject for a while. It is a subject that can be discussed a number of times. Cannot emphasize enough how important it is to respect people and to be respected by others. And you know, respect is respect and trust is earned. It is not given. One of the things that I say to people is that you always start with an A plus. Everyone with me always starts with an A plus. It is up to them to maintain that A plus. If they can't do it, neither am I. So that is what I have to say on the subject when it comes to sex. That is what I have to say on the subject when it comes to thirsting after somebody. Just remember to keep it respectable. Keep it respectable in the conversations. Treat them with respect. You will also be treated with respect. That's part and parcel of being a human being. Um, LaBelle says, no is my favorite word. It's a wonderful word to say. But I think I'm going to turn this puppy down. Tune in next week when I will be discussing acting and cosplay and how people should not own their cosplay and how people don't own their cosplay. Or drag for that matter. Like it'll be a topic of conversation, I promise. Um, but yes, if you want to follow me on that Tomcat. I finally was able to get my old That Tomcat TikTok. So I'm unsure of what to do. Because if I delete its Tomcat, I lose all of the people that I have followed and who followed me. If I delete That Tomcat, does the name go with it so I can change its Tomcat to That Tomcat? These are the types of conversations that make it really difficult for me to sleep at night. But I'll figure it out. Right now, you can follow me, That Tomcat, on, all over the place. That's my name. That's who I am. Um, but yes, I will talk to you all next week. Chow me out for now, guys, and I'll see you soon.